Oh, hello, little filmer dudes. I haven't seen you there. Oh, this? I don't know. But I think I've done it 2 out of 3 times. Pretty nice odds. Season 1, I knew who the murderer was as soon as they stepped on screen. Season 2, no clue. I had my guesses throughout, but I don't think I would have ever gotten it. I didn't get it. However, season 3, they can't pull the wool over my eyes. I think I not only uncovered the murderer, but I also think I uncovered a dark secret between a certain pairing in this season so far. Could Mabel have been the murderer this whole time? Who is she that Charles is referring to? And could just perhaps the murderer be everyone? I have 3 theories I wish to present to you in hopes it helps you to think the way that I think. And maybe together we'll figure out who murdered Ben and Glenroy. Yellow, my little filmer dudes, my name is Ivan Montero, and thank you for joining me on my journey to watch every sitcom and every TV show ever created. Not really, but we are going to break down? No, we're gonna get close. So this is a spoiler breakdown. So if you haven't seen season 3 of Only Murders in the Building, then you might wanna not be here. I'm not gonna spoil season 1 or season 2. We are just discussing season 3. But you've been warned. Everyone knows that good murder mystery needs a solid lineup of suspects. So who are our suspects? Well, first let's get out of the way who it's not, as that helps me with my case. This list includes Katie, the set lady. I have no reason to suspect her. I wasn't given a reason to suspect her, so yep. Ty, the understudy. We haven't really seen much of Ty, and we are 3 episodes in. If there's anything I've learned about the show is that there are no throwaway lines. And considering that fact and Ty's lack of screen time, I don't think Ty is the murderer. However, we do have the rest of the season left, so who knows? Can't rule him out completely, but I don't think he is. Greg, the super fan. We can totally rule him out. As Mabel said in episode 2, he's a super fan. This is honestly classic super fan behavior, kidnapping the ones you think murdered the one that you love. It's not Greg. This season, honestly, did an amazing job. A great job making it seem like the trio honestly could have been the murderers this time around. Mabel did seem to know an awful lot about poison, maybe to the point where she knows how to make poison that doesn't cause foaming at the mouth. But no, Mabel being the murderer doesn't make sense, especially after season 3. But they really did present a really good case for her. The only thing connecting Charles to Ben's murder is 1, she, whose identity we don't know yet, and 2, the tension and clear frenemies thing that he and Ben had going on. But Charles doesn't even know how to pronounce "mame" correctly.
She'd do it as part of an internet meme?
Why are you saying it like that?
So no, not Charles. And lastly, Oliver. Honestly, Oliver has no MO, no reason to kill Ben whatsoever. In fact, killing Ben causes more detriment to his play. So, and right now the play is his focus. So not him. Though he does seem nervous about the podcast and banned Mabel from doing sleuthing. So I see you, Oliver. The common thread, except for Charles, who serves as a sort of red herring for us, the audience, to discover the murder, is that none of them have any anguishes or anything causing tension with Ben. Again, except for Charles, but Charles, having this tension with Ben, is serving as a red herring for us to undiscover the mystery. So our suspects. Who are our suspects? My little filmer dudes, let me present to you our lineup so far. We have Dickie, the brother, Talbert, the cameraman, Donna and Cliff, the producer, mother, and son, Loretta, the red herring, Kimber, the wild card, and here's where the suspect list gets wild. Girl Cop, and technically one more whose identity will be revealed when we get to it. Why? Yes, these 7 are prime suspects for the murderer hunt. So instead of going through each suspect, I'm actually gonna give you my theories, essentially going through each suspect. Theory number 1. My number 1 suspect is actually Girl Cop. This isn't just a random speculation, as some people out there in the internet have actually suggested her last week, but gave absolutely no reason as to why or how it can be her. But after seeing episode 3, I think they gave us every reason to suspect her in episode 2, and it only confirmed it in episode 3. But we're gonna talk about that theory at the end. And my number 2 and technically number 3 suspects are Donna and Cliff, the producer, mother, and son. And I think I actually uncovered a dark secret about them, but we will get there. And finally, my last theory is that they're pulling an Agatha Christie on us, and everyone in the cast and crew are the murderers. So theory number 3. everyone. We're gonna go backwards and say the best theory for last. This one is simple. Ben pissed everyone off. Everyone had a motive to off this guy. Stupid reason or not, anger and rage drives people to do horrific things. So let's quickly review some reasons as to why each person could've, would've, should've murdered Ben. Dickie the brother. In episode 1, there was some tension between the two, leading me to believe that they weren't actually close brothers. They are brothers, but they're not close. In fact, Ben even blames Dickie for them being late to the table read, to which Dickie reacts quite annoyed. Not only that, but homebro is already hooking up Loretta with jobs. Suspicious, especially if Loretta isn't a red herring after all, and was part of the ensemble of murderers the whole time. However, we do see him crying and saying, "I'm sorry, Ben," in Ben's apartment when Mabel and Topper were also there looking for clues and had to hide and spy on Dickie. Some would say that's him being cleared, seeing he's sad for Ben's death. However, I don't think he was crying because he was sad. I think he was crying because he was guilty. Tobbert, the cameraman. The show made it a point that the first time we hear Tobbert speak would also be his last. I knew that wasn't gonna be the case, and lo and behold, I was correct. I also thought that Tobbert would have something on his camera that would be incriminating, or would at least have like the next clue or something. And I didn't think we were gonna get it this soon in the series, but hey, I was right there too. Some might think he is in the clear as he is now helping Mabel discover who killed Ben Glenroy. I do believe that he was talking about Ben when referring to the baby elephant. Did he basically confess? Maybe. Was he in on the murder ensemble, got his camera taken away, and then realized, yikes, homeboy did a boo-boo because his camera was still recording? Perhaps. However, I still think my theory number 1 is stronger than this one, but it really does seem that Topper could be part of the murder ensemble. And he's only going along with Mabel to get her off the scent. Kimber the wild card. First off, after episode 3, come on man, do they really expect me to believe that Kimber is the leading suspect? It's all in the clever editing, my filmer dudes. For one, I think it's way too obvious that it's Kimber, unless it is Kimber. And they're going with the hide in plain sight route. However, according to Ben himself, he's sorry for making things messy. Could they have had a really weird relationship that ended poorly? Plus, did you hear her sing? When he said in the video, "You're bad," I don't think he was talking about Kimber at all. A lot of people seem to think that he's talking to the cookies themselves. However, I think he's actually talking to a different individual in this. In fact, I think the real person in the video is Girl Cop, but we aren't ready for that yet. If you really look at episode 3 gave us more reason for us to think that it's not her. As someone who is competitive, what gains would she have had from Ben's death? Maybe saving her reputation from a really bad play? I don't think so. But she still could be part of the murder ensemble. On her own though? No way. With others? Absolutely. Then Loretta, the red herring. For one, also way too obvious. From episode 1, Loretta was set up to be the red herring. However, she does play a part in my theory number 1 with Girl Cop, but well, you know, we'll get there. So why could it be her? Well, no play means being able to freely be in a relationship with Oliver. But then when Ben turned out to be alive after all, she seemed pretty jealous that Oliver turned his attention all to him. And what about her convenient missing whereabouts? Once again, I think she's a red herring. But if she is a part of the murder ensemble, then, you know, my hat's off to her. She's clearly the craziest of them all. Lastly, Donna and Cliff, the producer mother and son. Here is where things get a little interesting. If there is a murder ensemble and we are about to Orient Express this bee, then Donna and Cliff are likely the ringleaders. Think about it. Donna keeps mentioning how much this play is costing her a lot of money. And as we all know, money equals reputation, especially to the wealthy. If this play is truly that bad, then she thought herself every reason to kill the actor to stop the play so that she could save herself embarrassment for herself and for her son, who wanted a big play to be his big debut anyway. And as soon as Cliff saw that the musical could be good, he was back on board. Cliff, on the other hand, he was likely bullied by Ben just knowing these archetypes, and that probably didn't sit well with either of them, so mama gonna protect her son, or son's gonna go along with mama. So if these individuals turn out to be the murder ensemble, then I'm quitting filmmaking and going into PI detective work, solve a big case and have Dev Patel play me, even though I am not Middle Eastern. Though I do think that this is a high possibility. I kind of feel like every murder mystery or good murder mystery sets themselves out to be anyone can be the murderer. So honestly, I'm cheating, but honestly, I really do think perhaps maybe they are gonna Orient Express this. But I wanted to call it first because I haven't really seen anyone suggest this with proof. Theory number 2 is Donna and Cliff. Here's the thing. Theory number 2 is just adding on to theory number 3, just focusing on Donna and Cliff. These people are odd to say the least. From the very beginning, I wanted to joke that it would be revealed that Cliff isn't actually her son, hence why they made out, and that they're just saying he's gay just so that they can. However, I now have a reason to believe that Cliff isn't her son after all. It's all in Loretta's audition. You'll see, everyone seems to think that Loretta's audition piece was meant to be Loretta's hidden backstory. But I actually think the audition piece was talking about Donna and Cliff. Think about it, who in the show right now has a daughter, son, nephew, or someone that they regard as their own child? No one really, Just Donna and Cliff. For the purpose of this theory, because there really are many interpretations of that audition piece, but I truly think that this audition piece is foreshadowing Donna and Cliff. So this is how we think it all went down. I think that Cliff was from a wealthy family, and as a baby, Donna was actually his nanny that took care of him day in and day out. We don't know the whole story of Death Rattle, but I suspect it's going to be very similar to that of Donna and Cliff, and I think something happened in which Donna likely murdered Cliff's real family and took Cliff as her own, and even usurped the real Donna's identity, just so that they have financial means. She gave up whoever she was, the nanny, and became Cliff's mom. Well, a lot of you guys are gonna say, Ivan, that doesn't really make sense, because then, she would be like, no, I am your mama. Weirder things have happened, but classic Stockholm syndrome, man. That's really what I have for you. Maybe she was honest about it, and maybe he's like, well, you're not my mama. But what if Ben found out about all of this, threatened to ruin Cliff's career and subsequently their lives, and they murdered him? That's essentially it. The way I see it, they committed this family murder, but they probably didn't kill Ben, because I truly think my theory number 1 killed Ben Glenroy. Theory number 1. Girl Cop. Not only does Girl Cop the show get mentioned a lot, but I think every major clue we have seen so far points directly to Girl Cop. Or rather, Girl Cop's child? Illegitimate with Ben? So far, we have assumed that the little girl we see during episode 1's opening moments was Loretta as a child. However, I think this might also be Girl Cop. The hands just seem too young at times, and they never quite achieved the age of Meryl Streep's own hands. I think Girl Cop became known only for Girl Cop and couldn't get out of that. And I also think Ben did something to prevent Girl Cop from pursuing an acting career, whether he sabotaged an audition or stole a role from her. He did something to ruin her career. In episode 2, Mabel talked to a dead Glenroy, to which she comments she hadn't done since Tim Kono. She didn't do this in season 2 because she wasn't connected to the murder. So this begs the question, does she only see ghosts of those with whom she's personally connected? Think about it. If her crush on Ben Gilroy is enough connection for her, and she saw Ben after watching an episode of Girl Cop, then maybe this is the writer's way of telling us we're on the right direction and we should really be suspecting Girl Cop. I know this is a stretch, but in episode 3, Charles says another girl killer. That's so been done. Once again, there are no throwaway lines in the show, and I think that was there to deter us from thinking that it would be a girl yet again. Lastly, in the video on Taubert's camera, we hear Ben say, oh, look at you standing there all sweet. You're bad. He can't be talking to anyone in the cast because they're all clearly good. So who could he be talking about? I think, once again, Girl Cop. Here's where the theory goes banana bonkers. I think that maybe Ben and Girl Cop had an affair while filming Girl Cop. Perhaps we will find out that the show got canceled early on and that ruined Girl Cop's career. It could go one of 3 ways from here. Girl Cop could actually be Loretta's niece, and Loretta could actually be in on it, and the audition piece could be talking about Loretta. That's number 1, but I don't think that's it. Two, Girl Cop confronts Ben about their long lost daughter, or says she wants back into his life, and that would be bad and ruin his career. Or 3, the murderer is Ben's daughter. Look at this frame when Mabel and Charles are speculating about Ben's falling down the elevator shaft. If you notice this frame, you can clearly see that this is a woman, not a man. I don't think this was an accident. Ladies and gentlemen, you're either looking at Girl Cop or Girl Cop Glenroy Jr., aka our murderer. Perhaps Ben threatened Girl Cop Glenn Roy Jr. and that caused Girl Cop herself to protect her child and murder Ben, or Girl Cop Glenn Roy Jr. wanted revenge for him skipping out on her and her mother, keeping the connection to Mabel intact still, filling Loretta's essential prophecy. And it lines up perfectly with Death Rattle Dazzle with the baby being the murderer this whole time. I truly think Girl Cop Glenn Roy Jr. is the murderer, or at least Girl Cop, but it's one of those two. And if I turn out to be right, I will be awaiting my praises. And if I'm wrong, then hey, at least we had some fun. My social media links are in the description below. What did you think about this theory? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next time. You've just been Montified.